The bridge is beautiful in the morning light. That is the first thing I think, that it is beautiful. The second thing I think, several seconds later, is that my dog has stopped moving. She is standing at the center of the bridge, completely still, both ears forward, head tilted slightly, the way she tilts it when she hears something I cannot. Her eyes are fixed on the gorge below, not the trees, not the path ahead, the gorge below. I call her name. She doesn't respond. I call again. Nothing. She takes one step toward the edge, then another. I grab her collar. I pull her back. She doesn't resist. But she doesn't look away either. Whatever she is looking at, or listening to, or feeling, it is coming from down there, from somewhere below, the call of the void. I don't know what she heard. I don't know what she felt, but I know this. In a small town on the west coast of Scotland, that bridge has done this to hundreds of dogs before mine. Always from the same spot, always the same long-nosed breeds. Some of them went over the edge, some of them survived and came back and went over again. Nobody knows why. And I need you to decide something by the end of this story. Was this inspired by true events? Or is it a story built entirely from something else? Real or fake? Last time I left you in a Firewatch cottage, 300 miles of wilderness, a tree line 60 yards out, and a voice calling my name. In my own voice. You had to decide. The answer is fake. I wrote it, every detail. The isolation, the dusk light, the sound from the trees. None of it happened. There was no fire watcher, no cottage, no voice. But here is where it gets complicated. The experience the story described, hearing something familiar in a place where nothing familiar should exist. That is documented. People who work alone in remote environments report it. Researchers who study extreme isolation have a name for it. A presence that isn't there, but feels completely real. So the story was fake, but the dread it described was built from something true. That wilderness is behind us now. What I have for you today happened not in a forest, but on a bridge. Not to a man alone, but to a woman and her dog. It is early morning, late autumn, the kind of cold that sits in the air without moving. I clip on her lead. She pulls toward the door. She always does. The town is quiet. No one on the streets yet. Just the two of us and the sound of our footsteps. The neighbor had said 20 minutes on foot. Through the park, along the river path, up through the trees. The park is empty. Benches facing a small pond, ducks at the far end, moving slowly through the water. She watches them. I let her look. We walk on. The path narrows. Trees on both sides now. The morning light barely reaches the ground. And then I hear it. Water, deep below, moving fast over rocks. The gorge. I see the bridge before I reach it. Old stone, mossy, wider than I expected. It crosses maybe 40 feet of open air. She stops at the entrance, both ears forward, head low. I call her name. She doesn't move. I assume she is spooked by the water, the sound of it, the height. I walk ahead onto the bridge. I expect her to follow. She does, slowly, like something is pulling her forward that I cannot see. She is standing at the center of the bridge now, completely still. Her eyes are fixed on the gorge below. She takes one step toward the edge, then another. I grab her collar. I pull her back hard. She doesn't resist, but she doesn't look away either. Whatever she is looking at, whatever she is hearing or feeling, it is coming from down there, from somewhere below. The call of the void, and then it hits me. Not a sound, not a sight, nothing I can point to or name, just a feeling. sudden and total, like something had noticed me standing there. A pull, low in my stomach. Faint at first. I felt it before on great heights, that irrational, terrifying urge. Not a thought, not a choice. Just a sensation that rises from somewhere beneath reason and says, "Go over." I step back from the railing. My heart is pounding. My hands are shaking. I don't look down. I pull her with me. I don't speak. I don't stop. Back through the trees. Back through the park. Back to the town. I do not look back. I tell myself, it was the height. It was always just the height. I don't believe it. 3 days pass. Life goes back to normal. I stop thinking about it. On the 4th morning, I wake up and she's not there. The back door is closed. The front door is locked. Every window shut. I search the house, every room, every corner. Nothing. I don't understand how she got out. I don't understand how anything got out. I already know where she has gone. I run through the town, through the park. The ducks scatter as I pass, down the river path, into the trees. The light disappears. I hear the water before I see the bridge. I reach the entrance and I stop. She is not there. I force myself forward to the center of the bridge. I grip the railing and I look down. And it comes again. That pull, low in my stomach, rising fast. I let go of the railing. I step back. My legs are shaking. I call her name. I am crying. The gorge gives nothing back. Just the sound of water, just the wind through the trees, just silence where my dog used to be. I leave the bridge as fast as I can. I do not go back. I don't sleep that night. The next morning, the neighbor comes to my door. She has heard. Word travels fast in a small town. She sits across from me at the kitchen table, and she tells me about the bridge. Not the warning she gave me on the street. Something older than that. She tells me about a woman who lived in the estate by the bridge centuries ago. A widow. Her name is lost. What people remember is only what she became. A grief so deep and so long that something in the place changed around her. She called to things from the gorge, people said. Animals heard her. They still do. Hundreds of dogs have jumped from that bridge. Those that survived the fall came back and jumped again. The locals call her the White Lady. I asked the neighbor why she didn't tell me this before. She doesn't answer. I go to the police. I report her missing. They are kind. They take notes. They search the gorge below the bridge. They find nothing. No body, no fur, no trace on the rocks or in the water. The officer tells me dogs sometimes run. They follow a scent for miles and turn up days later. I don't tell him about the bridge. I don't know how to explain what I saw, what I felt. I ask around the town, quietly, carefully. People look away when I mention the bridge. Some change the subject. One man tells me to leave it alone. An older woman stops me on the street. She has lived here her whole life. She tells me she has seen it before. Many times. Over many years. She says the ones that go from that spot don't come back. She says she is sorry. I spend weeks trying to understand it. I read everything I can find about the bridge, about the dogs, about what draws them to that spot. There is a theory, scientific, documented. Researchers say the gorge below the bridge is dense with the scent of mink, invasive animals nesting in the rocks, dogs with sensitive noses, long-nosed breeds especially. They smell something and they lose all reason. They can't help themselves. They go over before they understand what they are doing. It is the most reasonable explanation, the most clinical one. I want to believe it. But my dog was a Labrador. She had the nose for it. and she had stopped at the entrance to the bridge before she could have smelled anything from below. She stopped before she reached the edge. Something called to her before the scent could. And then there is the other explanation, the one the town carries quietly. The White Lady, the widow's grief embedded in the stone and the water and the air of that place. I am not a superstitious person. I was not a superstitious person. But I stood on that bridge. I felt what I felt. That pull from below. That thing that had no name and no reason. And I think about my dog's eyes fixed on the gorge. And I think, what if it wasn't the scent? What if something down there was calling her by name? I left town 6 weeks later. I told myself it was the job, the timing, that I was always going to move on. I know that is not why. I have never gone back. What I have told you is this: a bridge in Scotland, hundreds of dogs drawn to the same spot over decades, a legend older than anyone alive can remember, and a dog who slipped out of a locked house in the middle of the night and was never found. I have looked for explanations. I have found two, one scientific, one something else entirely. Neither one satisfies me, because I stood on that bridge. I felt what I felt, and whatever was down there, the call of the void, it wasn't calling only to the dogs. I know that now. I have always known that. So I need you to decide something. A woman moves to a new town. She walks her dog across a bridge she knows nothing about. Her dog disappears without explanation. She feels something on that bridge she cannot name. Was this inspired by true events? Or is it a story built entirely from something else, real or fake?